spoiler alert, I got 10 books. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Faith and thank you so much for watching. Today, I'm gonna give you guys my birthday book haul. At this point, my birthday was almost 2 weeks ago, but my haul was just too good. I needed to share. I don't know how well you can see all the books on my bookshelf right now because I am blocking most of them. Usually, I try to take the overflow books off of my shelf just to make it look nicer for the video, but I decided to keep them all on this time so that you could see that I have no room for any more books, but I got them anyways. This is your sign to never let the lack of room stop you from buying books. But enough chit chat, let's get to the haul. The first book I got was this version of The Mistake. I never got this version of the deal because for some reason I thought that they were only doing the deal. I didn't realize that they were doing the entire series. But once I realized they were doing the entire series, I decided that I had to have them. And originally my plan was to only get this version of the deal, The Mistake, and The Score. However, this is the only one that they had at Books A Million, so this is the only one that I was able to get. But I will say, since then, I have scored The Score, now I just need the deal. But The Score is not part of the birthday haul. I think realizing that they only had this one and that I would only be getting this one book stirred something within me, and I decided to just grab every single book that I've ever wanted, apparently. Because, spoiler alert, I got 10 books. But it was my birthday, so it's fine. But this is not the only version of The Mistake that I got, because I also got this version of The Mistake, and I also got that version of The Legacy. I read the series like 5 years ago, and when I read them, these were the only covers available for these books, but I was too embarrassed to get these, so I ended up reading the ebook version. I didn't get the physical copies of these books until these covers were available, but ever since I got these covers, I've kind of just been like, you know what? I kind of want the original covers. And I've thought that pretty much every single time I've seen a copy of one of these books in stores since the illustrated covers came out. I never got them because I was like, well, they're out of print. I'm never going to be able to get the whole series. At this point, ever since these went out of print, I've probably seen 10 full sets of both Off Campus and Briar U. So I definitely could have had them all by now. And for some reason, I chose my birthday to start getting these. And you want to know what the problem with that is? My birthday is May 13th. Off Campus came out on May 13th. So I chose to get the out-of-print covers the day the show came out and the day that more people would start buying the books. And I want these covers not only in Off Campus, but in Briar U. At this point, will I ever find them? Who knows? I haven't been back to a bookstore since getting these covers, so I'm still holding out hope that they're going to have some of these covers there. If I go to the bookstore and they don't have these covers, will I lose every single ounce of hope that I have? Yes, I will. But that's a problem for future me. Hey guys, Future Faith here. Between filming this video and editing this video, guess where I went? And guess what they didn't have? Yeah. You know, I'm still gonna hold out hope for a little bit, but if I keep going back and they keep not having them, I don't even want to think about it. For now, I'm happy with these two, and I'm going to try to get the entire Off Campus and Briar U series in these covers. Let's be real, just my luck now that I've decided to get these, I will never see another copy ever again. And then I got The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. I have never seen anybody talk about this book. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've had my eye on this for months now. And since it was my birthday, I decided to get it. It sounds really good and I'm really excited to read it, so I'm glad that I finally decided to get it. And then I got the out-of-print cover of Daggermouth. I walked into Books A Million and this was literally the first book that I saw. To my knowledge, this book has been out of print for a few months now and it has been impossible for anybody to find. I've been wanting to read this one for a while and I like this cover way better than the trad cover. No offense to the artist of the trad cover. So while I literally never expected to find this cover, I'm really glad that I did. Also, I know some resellers got this version of the book and are selling it for like hundreds of dollars. So I also just had to get it to spite all of them. But I'm really looking forward to this one. And then I got City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. This is another one that I've been wanting to read for a really long time, but I literally never see this book in stores. So when I saw it, literally no hesitation, immediately picked it up. I also recently learned that apparently this is an urban fantasy, which is basically a fantasy book that takes place in a city setting. Think like Crescent City. And granted, I've only read 2 urban fantasy series. I actually really do like urban fantasies, so that definitely makes me more excited to read this book. And then me and Bestie Ellie both got one of their mystery book boxes. Before this, I actually don't think I've ever seen them in stores other than maybe once or twice. So when Bestie Ellie was like, wait, I kind of want to get one, of course I said, if you buy one, I'll buy one. So we both bought one. In case you're unfamiliar, they're sorted by genre, so they have romance, fiction, YA, and they're all 4 books for $25. Bestie Ellie ended up getting the fiction book box, and I got the romance book box. And in the romance box, I got Wildlife by Opal Way, Kismet by Becky Chalson, One Last Shot by Betty Kayette. I'm sorry, I have no idea how to say that. And lastly, The Summer That Made Us by Robin Carr. These 3 I'm very excited for. They all sound like something that I would like. However, this one, I don't believe is a romance book. After we opened the boxes, I read the back of this one and I was like, doesn't really sound like romance at all. So I looked it up, and according to both Goodreads and Google, this is a woman's fiction book with a very, very, very minor subplot of romance. Safe to say, this is very far out of my typical reads. And I will not lie, I am kind of upset that this was in a romance book box, especially when fiction literally had its own mystery box. But there's nothing I can do about it now. Either way, 3 books that I think I'm gonna enjoy for $25 is still a good deal. That being said, I do think it's good to try and expand your reading tastes every once in a while. Plus, I have a rule where if I bought it, I do have to at least give it a try. So I did actually start this book. Thankfully, the audiobook was available on Libby, so I just decided to listen to that. Unfortunately, I already DNF'd it at chapter 3. And don't even think about coming for me saying, Faith, you need to give it more than 3 chapters. They're long chapters, guys. 3 chapters is literally 60 pages, and I don't want to waste my time reading a book that I do not enjoy. So unfortunately, this one just wasn't for me. But those are the 10 books that I got on my birthday, and even though there was 1 book that I DNF'd, the mystery box was still fun, and overall, I think that it is an incredible book haul. And while that's it for the book portion of my book haul, I did get some other book related gifts for my birthday. First, I got these really cool bookends. You stick them between books on your bookshelf and it looks like a little dragon is peeking out. And my mom picked the colors to make it look like Taryn, and I love it so much. And then I also got this projector that hooks up to your phone and you can play like fantasy scenes. So when I'm reading, I can just hook it up and have this aesthetic scene playing on my wall, which is so cool. And lastly, if you've been around for a while, you probably know that I am a huge DC Stars fan. So I am so happy that I got this DC Stars sweatshirt. I don't know how well you can see it, but it is a little teddy bear playing hockey and it is so cute. I'm obsessed with this, and it's from Tail and Thread in case anybody else wants one. And that concludes the birthday book haul. My last few videos were pretty long, so I did kind of want to keep this one relatively short. So that is all that I have for you guys today. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow my Instagram and my TikTok, which are in the description below, for more bookish content. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Love you guys. Bye!